changing lives.
Good evening. It is another beautiful day. We thank God for giving us this opportunity to come into your homes again with Love at Home. You are watching Love at Home today, and it is on Love Hope Channel Ghana. We thank you so much that you always stay tuned and glued to your set. Families doing these exercises with us. And today we are looking at family and safety. Yes, family and safety. Precautions and safety at home within the family circles are very, very relevant and important. But the question is, how often do we discuss this? How often do we put in strategies to maintain safety issues or safe issues at home? This is why today we are going to be discussing this, because you have so many examples, so many issues going on in the family circles that we need to discuss that borders on our safety. That is why today we are discussing this topic. Once again, let me thank you so much, my Angel of Hope, members of Angel of Hope. Thank you so much for always sponsoring and supporting Love at Home and Hope Channel activities. If it is not you, you don't know what we would have been. Thank you so much. If you want to be a member, you can dial *928*34*104#. Then you follow the prompt. You can also dial 0249193083. You can send any contribution, any amount is not too small or too little for us. We welcome everybody. And I also want to thank you so much. On Sunday, by God's grace, we were able to gather together to celebrate our 5th anniversary. It was a fundraising and awards day, and it was so wonderful. For those who were able to come here, and those who joined us via Facebook and YouTube, and those who contributed, we thank you so much, and we say God bless you. God bless you so much. But as you know, as Oliver Twist, we always want more. So please, we pray for you that you continue to grow in whatever activity you are doing. Then you can give back to God. Thank you so much. My name is Efia Sewa Mansa. Let's go for a quick break. And when we come back, I'll introduce you to my guest for the day. We'll be right back. Please stay tuned.
Hello, people of God. Blessed Family Chorale, in collaboration with Bakmakwa Nigeria, presents its 3rd edition of Hymns and Prayer Service, happening on the 27th of August 2023 at ICGC Calvary Temple, Accra, Sphinx.
Angels' voices ever singing from thy throne of light.
Time is 5 p.m. Ministering are Symphonious Choir, Bakmakwa, and Harmonious Chorale. It promises to be a worship and prayer-filled experience in the presence of God. Entry is free. And remember, time is 5 p.m. prompt. See you there.
Thank you for staying tuned, and you are welcome. The program is Love at Home. Please remember to call in your friends, the rest of the family. Let them be seated. You can join us on Facebook and YouTube. You can also send in your contributions to 059680066. Please, you can send in your contribution. During the course of the program, we will allow you to call in and ask your questions and contribution. So please stay tuned. Today, to help me do this wonderful discussion, which is family and safety. I have Mr. Emmanuel Ebo Budu Mensah. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, madam.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Okay. I hope the journey was smooth coming here.
By the grace of God.
I heard you traveled. How was it?
Yes, it was okay. I went to Swedro
Okay.
to give same medication over there.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So we thank God
Amen.
that He's brought you here safely.
Amen.
Now, so I've been wondering, who are you?
Okay. Emmanuel Ebo Budu Mensah is a self-employed. I work in an organization called Perfect Care Institute of Fire and Safety Engineering, located at McCarthy Hill. We are into fire protection services. We design fire systems. We sell and maintenance of firefighting equipment, all kinds of firefighting equipment. We also give skills training in fire safety engineering. And we do a lot.
Just as we are doing
Just
for
as
today.
we are doing today.
All right. So today we are discussing safety in the home. Safety in the home. Now, generally, what is safety? And when can we say someone is safe?
Let me take this opportunity to thank you for having me here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure
And
having you
I
too.
think today is the first time for being on your show.
Ah, I'm highly delighted. Thank you.
And your topic is also interested
Thank you.
because we are getting to a point whereby we should be very safety conscious because things that are coming up or developing is very dangerous and we need to put measures in place. When we say safety, safety simply means the condition of being protected. The condition of being protected, unlikely from cause danger or injury. So when we say safety, you are free from harm or any hazard. Yes,
That is safety.
safety, the condition of being protected.
Okay.
For instance, something want to hit you or this table want to fall on your leg, but you're able to smart and remove your leg.
Okay.
You are safe.
Okay.
So when you're able to protect yourself from all these dangers, then you can say you are safe.
Okay. Okay. Now let's bring it to the home setting. What is safety in relation to home and family setting?
I always tell my audience that your home is the center of your life, filled with loved ones and personal belonging. At the end of this program, we're all going home. So our home settings or our house settings should be according to safety precautions measures. So as a family, there are a lot of safety measures we need to put in place. There's a lot, and I think as programs go on, we discuss them and see those things that need to be in place as a family settings.
Mr. Budu, we have our Father who is in heaven, and He has assured us, including myself, that He will protect me. Why must I put in some of these conditions or safety practices to avoid any injury in my home when I have my heavenly being, the whole Him, taking care of me?
God gave us wisdom to think
Okay.
so that He can rest. In the book of Proverbs, chapter 27, verse 12, it reads, "The prudent see danger and take refuge,
Okay.
but the simple keep going and pay the penalty."
Ah.
God has given everyone a wisdom to think so God can rest. But what do we do? And there is a saying that prevention is always better than a
Thank
cure.
you.
Christians always want to say they are Christians. We have God and God will protect us. But there are some certain things that we need to do. God will never do for us. God will never do for us. We need to do those things ourselves. So He has given us wisdom to think and put some things in measures. For instance, if you want to build or if you want to put up a structure, who built it for you? God is not the architect who will design your drawings for you. You need an architectural drawings or you need an architect who will design the building that you want to put up for you. God will never come down and design such buildings for you. So as a Christians, we have a lot to do pertaining to our safety.
So what are some of the possible dangers we encounter at home daily?
The dangers are a lot.
Yeah, so share some with us.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 22 verse 8. You know, God instructed the Israelites the way they should put up their buildings, the way they should build. In those days, there's rooftop. When they built, they opened the roof whereby in the evening or at any other day they can sit at the rooftop and enjoy
The fresh air.
the fresh air. If you can remember, something happened in the book of Acts. I think Paul preached for a long period and somebody fell from the top of the building. Yes. So God gave them instruction on how to build. And when you read the book of Deuteronomy chapter 22 verse 8, it said that when you put up a new house or when you put up a building, make a battlement. Some of the translation says parapet. Simple means a dwarf wall on the open top so that nobody will fall from the house top to bring a bloodshed in your house.
Okay.
So for me, I do tell my audience, if somebody die in your house or in your home through fire outbreak or whatever, due to your negligence, you have an answer to give to God. Yes. So when we are building, there's a lot we need to put into our building system.
Now let's come to the home setting. What are some of these things we do that endangers us? In terms of, for example, the kitchen setting, the building setting, and all that.
I do visit a lot of homes, and the major dangers associated with our home settings is housekeeping.
Okay.
Housekeeping. There are some certain elements or certain things that we don't need them in the house, but we still keep them in the house.
Like what?
A lot. A lot. There are used things, something like empty boxes or old mattress. There are some things, even testers or the dress, some of the things are no more useful in the house. We need to dispose them off properly, especially when it comes to kitchen setup or even the whole building setup.
No,
we need.
We'll get there. I want to understand.
Okay.
If I decide to keep them, what danger
Why
that
you
cause
decide
me?
to keep them?
Yeah.
They tend to hazard.
How? How do they tend to hazard?
Good. You know, fire spread.
Okay.
Fire spread. So in case you have a lot of items within your room, that is not necessary. You are not going to use them. You need to dispose them off.
The TV I bought some years ago, I still have the box there. You are saying I need to discard them because
Wow, if you are,
it can.
Yes, you need to throw them away. What are you using the box for?
Oh, when I see them, I'm happy.
Just happy.
Yes.
They have tend to hazard.
Okay. Thank you.
And accident simply means hazard plus an exposure.
Okay.
Okay. So in case there's a fire in that particular room, whatever you say, the things there, for instance, if this table is on fire and this chair, there's no chair here, this thing will burn to ashes and it has nothing to burn again.
Okay.
But when there's a lot of things within or around, what happens is it spread. So you turn your home into hazard, whereby keeping things that are no more used or not necessary in the homes. So please, our viewers, if you are like a fear that a 10 years television box is still with your room, please throw them away. They are not necessary. You don't need them.
You've heard you.
Yes.
Okay, so now that is an example. Let's come to the kitchen.
The kitchen. Before we come to kitchen,
Okay.
I think every building need to get more exits.
Okay.
So those who are yet to build, if I tell your designer or the architect, if it is 3-bedroom, at least you need about 3 exit points.
You mean escape routes?
Escape route.
Okay.
The main entrance, the kitchen, and maybe through the corridor you can create another exit. And you know, when there is emergency, special fire emergency in the room, the way out is the door or the windows. And what do we see of late? All our buildings are we fix in burglar-proof system.
Yeah.
And we have only one door. So when there's an emergency, there's nowhere to escape.
Exit. Yeah.
Yes, so it will be very necessary that when we are putting up a new buildings, as God gave instruction to Israelites, we need to make a provision, more exits within the building.
Okay.
Then let's come to kitchen setup. Where do we keep our cylinder? If you answer me this, where is your cylinder in the kitchen?
Well, I live in an upstairs, so my
Okay.
cylinder is an upstairs. But I guess if you have a down floor, I'll
Okay.
probably put it outside.
Okay.
The-
There are
the
people
kitchen.
who are down floor, but they still keep their cylinders inside the kitchen.
Yeah, it's because people will come, the owners, the mini owners will come and pick them.
Okay, so if you are, the mini owners are the thieves, is that not so?
Yes.
Okay, so the fire, let's come to this point. Fire and thieves, whom do you afraid most?
Okay, the fire.
You're afraid of fire.
Yeah.
Okay, but a lot of people are afraid of thieves. That is why they always keep their cylinders inside their kitchen. Please, we will take this opportunity to advise our viewers that the cylinders are very dangerous and we need to keep them outside the kitchen. Outside the kitchen. It will marvel you that if you visit some homes, you will see a whole cylinder. We are talking about the LPG cylinder, the gas cylinder. You will see stones, big stones, small stones on top of the cylinders. And
Yeah.
I wonder why they put those stones on the top of cylinder. I don't know if you can help me.
I don't know, maybe the regulators are not working, so they put it down so that it will reduce the pressure from flowing.
Okay, so if the regulators
Or
are
leakages.
not, if there is a leakage, we need to change the valve or the regulator. That is the best way to solve the issues. You can't put stone or cloth on top of it, then you leave it. One day, it will cause harm. So please, our viewers, let's do our possible best to put our gas cylinders outside the kitchen, drill a hole through the wall with the cord and fix it on the cylinder. How do you call it? The stove. That will be better. When there is any misfortune on the cylinder, it is outside. You just turn off your regulator inside, then everything happens outside. It's better for us to do it that way. Or we can even, some are afraid of thieves that because if they put it outside the kitchen, the owners will come for it. We can use metal to do some burglar system, put it inside, put
cage it.
one iron roofing sheet on top of it. And I think there we go. It's better we do it that way. Because the research, there is a research says that when there is a leakage of gas here, it can travel about 300 meters.
300 meters.
Meters. Far, far, far away. The leakage can spread. You know, the gas is a cylinder. It's liquefied petroleum gas. It's like an air.
Yeah.
So you don't see it with your eyes. So when there's, for this distance, for 300 meters, if it meets any, how do you call it, any naked fire, it can pick it, come back and start the fire. Then there will be explosion.
Okay.
Then I will also advise, some also do backup.
What do you mean by backup?
Good. Because of the shortage of gas, they have a lot of cylinders. So they fill them. This is full, and they keep all of them in the
Okay.
kitchen. That is also more dangerous.
Okay.
So we should also be very cautious on that.
Okay, so if I understand you, having a full cylinder as in the storing them at the same place.
At
That
the
is what you're
same
talking
place,
about.
yes.
Okay.
Because you know, in a crash setup, single room self-contained, you have everything within inside. So you don't have proper storage whereby you can keep those cylinders away from the kitchen, always within the kitchen. So it will be very necessary you fill one at a time instead of filling about 2 or 3, putting them together. When there is any disaster, it will be very massive. So we need to be very careful on that as well.
Okay. All right, please continue.
Yes. And let's take this opportunity also to advise our viewers. Whenever you go home and you smell leakage of gas, please don't turn off your fan or no turn off fan or lights. But what you have to do is to open the windows and the door for air to pass through for some time before you can check the cylinder. And it will be also advisable that at the end of every cooking, we need to turn off the regulator. If it is possible, let's remove the regulator from the cylinder. It will be helpful to us.
Okay, so what should families do, for instance, in the case of fire outbreak?
Okay. The first thing a family should do, we have problem in our country because this education you are trying to educate your viewers, only few people does that. A lot of people don't do. And in any developing countries, the family used to have at least twice a fire drill in the home. They educate the children in the absence of the parent in case there's fire, what to do. But in Ghana here, nobody cares. We wake up, the children bath, we take them to school, we come, we eat, we pray, we sleep, we wake up, we go, and we don't tell our children or we don't educate them on any emergency measures. So it's very good that you have introduced this program, and I give you applause for that.
Thank you.
So in case there's a fire at home, the first thing we have to do is to get out. You get out from the room. When you are getting out from the room, please don't leave the door open or the windows open. Try to close the windows and the doors to confine the fire. You know, there are three things that come together before a fire can start. And this is air, oxygen, and heat. So when you're able to eliminate one of them, the fire automatically go off. After doing that, you need to call fire service. Emergency number is 192 or 112. Please don't call. You only call when there's a problem. So when you get out, before you get out, you make sure you close the door and windows. You get out, you go to where your main switch is, then you put it off automatically. Though the fire has started, but for energy to help it to burn is down, so it can't burn as it's supposed to be whilst you call for fire service. And it will also be advisable that every home should design emergency assembly points. You tell your children that when there is any emergency in the room, get out and go to this place. So let's from now on, let's educate our children when there is an emergency in the room, where to go to seek a refuge. It will be better this way.
Okay, so you've taken us through some of the precautions when there is fire outbreak, but what about the use of fire extinguishers and other extinguishing devices?
Okay. Every home is supposed to get fire extinguisher, smoke detector to give early warning system. But how many of us here have those equipment in position? You know, they serve as first aid appliance to you. It serves as first aid. When there's a fire, before you call fire service, when you have this equipment at home, it will help you to at least contain the fire for some points.
Or evacuate faster or
evacuate
earlier.
Faster, yes. But since we don't have them, so it will be advisable for every home to get fire extinguisher. And you know, we have types of fire extinguishers, but I do advise my viewers and audience that they should get the dry powder one, the ABC dry powder. You know, the content is ABC and it's quench class A, class B, class C. You know, as we have type of classification of fire. So when you have the ABC dry powder one, that is the best way to get it. So it's advisable, and people say it's expensive. Sometimes one outfit can buy extinguisher. If you look at the wristwatch, your shoe, a lot. One dress from your head to toe can buy extinguisher. So we should do our best to at least get them in place, and it will help us. And I also say families need to at least educate the family, both children, in first aid. You know, when we mention first aid, people think about medication. First aid is not about medication. Prescription is only given by doctors. But in case somebody is in immediate danger, what do we do? So first aid is also important at home.
Now, in some homes they have the fire extinguishers, but the positioning of these fire extinguishers sometimes also brings a problem. For example, if you keep your fire extinguisher inside the kitchen, when there is fire, I guess you'll not be able to enter there to pick the fire. So what is the general advice or general rule in positioning some of these fire extinguishers at home?
Yeah, if you're so in everything, I do tell people that if you don't have idea about something, consult. So before you buy extinguisher, if you buy from a distributor, you ask him question, or you can even invite the distributor to your home. We do visit people's home, fix their extinguisher for them. It will be inappropriate that if I visit your home, I will know where to fix them. Then I will educate you how to operate the fire extinguisher. You know, some have them, but they don't know how to operate it. That is also one issue. They have bought the extinguisher all right, but they don't know how to operate the extinguisher. So it's also necessary to know how to operate the fire extinguisher and see where you can locate it. The location is also very, very important. Sometimes within the corridor or before the kitchen is okay. When you fix it before the kitchen or within your corridor, depend on your home setup. Yes, that will also be very useful.
Talking about operating it reminds me of an incident that happened some time ago when there was a fire outbreak. The lady carried a whole extinguisher and threw it into the fire, and thinking that the fire will quench. Yet the fire was coming and he started screaming. So I think there is the need for all of us to be educated on the use of the fire extinguishers, including the children too.
Yes.
So what are, apart from the fire extinguishers, are there some other type of things that will enable us quench? For example, a kitchen, when you are frying, you see that there is fire coming. What do you do?
We need to get fire blankets. But in the absence of the fire blanket, we can get this, our normal blanket at home, or even the towels, or even the cocoa sack, the heavy one. I'm not talking about the fertilizer one, the cocoa sack. So we can dip it inside the water, we can wet it and spread it on top of the fire. Then the fire will automatically go off.
What is the idea for that wet cloth?
Okay.
What is the idea? Why should the fire be quenched?
The idea is that it is the oxygen that helps the fire to burn. But when you wet the cloth, the pores, the holes in the towels or in the seals, so the air cannot penetrate through the sack or the blanket to help the oxygen, to help the fire to burn.
Okay.
Yes, so when you're able to wet it, if you don't wet it and you spread it on top of the fire, it will burn,
yes,
including you.
Yeah.
So we need to be very careful. We first, if it is blankets, we need to dip it in water or soak it, then we spread on top of the fire.
Okay.
Then we leave it for a while. Whilst if it is on the stove, you need also to turn off the regulator first. Yes. And you know, some people used to throw water, especially for the kitchen fire and all these things. You know, the dense of the water is heavier than the oil. So when you pour water on the burning oil or whatever, what happens is the water go down, then the oil comes up. So you see the fire is still burning.
Yeah.
So we don't throw water on that, but we can use the towel or the blanket.
So in this parts of the world, or in my country, what I normally see is that when there is fire, everybody is going for water buckets here and there to quench. As to whether we know the type of fire or the source, being electricity, being LPG, being what, we are using water. Is that the right thing to do?
No. So I will encourage you to keep on, excuse me, to keep on this program, at least invite more people, throw more insight on it, because we have types of fire. Mm-hmm. We have Class A fire, Class B fire, Class C, and Class D. We have fire that is, when it's burning, the materials are solid materials. For that one, you can use water on them. But you can't use water on electricity when the main switch is on. It's very dangerous. As you know, water is a bad conductor of electricity. And when you use water, you throw water on the electricity fire, the power can pass through the water.
And pull you along.
Yes. Prevention is better than cure, so let us do our own best. You know, most of the fire outbreaks are caused by human activities. Mm-hmm. You know, we have two types of fire outbreak or the causes of fire, that is acts of God and man-made. And man-made is what we create them ourselves. So when we are doing the right thing, at least it will minimize the fire outbreak in this country.
Okay. In the beginning, when you started, you made mention of the fact that home safety, we incur more injuries because of home keeping. In what scenarios? Can you share some example with us when you talk about safety and home keeping?
I don't know whether you have heard this one before. Somebody cooking, after removing the soup from the fire, the pot from the fire, he puts the soup on the floor, not knowing a child, a baby, was crying on the floor. Then he fall inside the soup.
The baby fell inside the soup?
Yes, and
My
it
gracious.
happens in many homes. It's happened in many homes because most of us are not safety conscious, and so we should be very careful. I also wonder, somebody who fell in the house or in the bathroom, then he gets a fracture. Why? Because we are not safety conscious. So we need to be very careful, especially the tiles that we use in our rooms, especially in the bathroom of late. We use very smooth surface and very slippery. So we need to be very careful.
Friction.
There's no friction, yes,
Okay.
yes. So we should be very careful because if I hear somebody, he fell in the bathhouse, then he gets a fracture or a dislocation, I find it difficult to understand, simply because we are not doing the right thing in our home setup. So we need to be very careful, things that we do in our homes.
Now, in some homes, you made mention earlier on that we need to train the children in how to stay safe. Some families also have what they call safe haven.
They have what?
Safe haven, a
Okay.
place where there is any danger, they'll go and hide,
Okay.
and they've trained the family and everybody. Is it advisable to do that?
It's not advisable. When there's any emergency, you don't hide. You get out. So we need to tell our children, you know, children are sometimes scared on so many things. So they prefer hiding, but it's not advisable when there is emergency or any dangers in home, they have to hide. No, they have to go to an open space. That is why I said earlier on that we need to create an emergency assembly point whereby everybody can escape or maybe leave the room or leave the house and go there for some time before you'll be added to go in or stay for a while. So let us do our best, at least if within the compound or if it is close to the gates or whatever. Those of us who have our own houses, let's create that emergency assembly point. Educate our children that when there is any emergency, leave the room and get to this place.
Now, you've earlier on mentioned the liquefied products, the LPG types, but we have the gensets, the generators that we are using at home. Sometimes it is so close to our bedside, and you see the fumes, the smoke coming back into the bedrooms. And in the whole environment, so the whole room, you see that the whole place is engulfed with carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide. What are the dangers in this?
Some years back, I think when Dumsor started in this country, there's an incident that happened at Dansuma. I think a gentleman bought a genset, as was saying, and because of the thieves, I think he sent the generator inside the bedroom.
Hey!
Yes, inside the bedroom. So you know the fumes that were coming out, I think they fell asleep along the line, and before daybreak, they were dead. So the fumes are very dangerous. The fumes, even the smoke from the kitchen here and there are very dangerous. Most people die during the fire outbreak, not because they were burnt by the fire, but it's because of the smoke.
The inhalation.
Yes,
of
the inhalation. So there should be a distance when you want to have a gent. And of late, I think that because of modern technology, there are so many gents in town that is smoke-free. There's no smoke. But those that produce smoke, we need to at least put them in a distance. That's the smoke that comes out of it cannot even have any impact on us.
Well, my lovely viewer, it is becoming more interesting, and I pray that you've called your friends to join in for this discussion. I also want to remind you that we open the phone lines for you to call in and send you your WhatsApp messages for your concerns to be heard. And let's go for a quick break, and when we come back, we'll continue the discussion. We are still discussing safety at home. We'll be right back. Thank you.
I am an angel of hope.
I'm an angel of hope.
Ubrenio, so do sika a beba boa channel. No aso ya sene. Yet me da me asem no akọ omanhwi aso ne ni tworom nyana. Wadaroma fa homan na fa usika fa so bi na onso fa bra. Ne ko kanyamsem enya akra ewu nkwa. Star 928 star 34 star 104 hash. Anase 0249 193083. Hope Channel, yes, it's Sabrabo. Hope Channel, yeah, Giacrano.
Every individual has a story. Stories of social issues such as infertility.
You did not marry your wife only because she's going to give you a child. You married because you loved her. Whatever comes on your plate, you're ready to accept that.
Abuse, obesity, life struggles, and others can be very frustrating. That is why Real Talk is back again with another exciting season where individuals like you can come into our studio or join us virtually to share your story and experience. To share your story, you can reach us through our WhatsApp number at 0559 680 066, or you can email us at hoptvghana@gmail.com. We say don't lock them away. If you ignore them, they can just get angrier and louder.
Hello, you are welcome back. We are discussing safety at home. We are discussing safety at home. The program is Love at Home. Thank you so much for staying tuned. I guess you have called in your friends. I also want to remind you again that the lines will be opened, so you can call in to share your suggestions and contributions with us and send in your messages through 0559 680066. Now, before we left for break, Elder was trying to educate us on the use or the importance of fire extinguishers. We were saying that there was a story where somebody had to throw in a whole fire extinguisher into the fire, thinking that by throwing it in, it will quench, but it didn't. Now, Elder, you have one fire extinguisher here.
Yes.
We would love you to show us how to operate it.
Okay. Our viewers, it's very good that we get this appliance home. As a fire engineer or fire expert, we call them as first aid, because when there is a fire, you need something to contain the fire before the fire brigade gets to your aid. And this is dry powder extinguisher, that is ABC. ABC means the content inside the bottle can quench Class A fire, Class B fire, and Class C fire. So this is the best one we do recommend for the homes. And before you use fire extinguisher, this is portable one. So whenever there is a fire, if you throw this cylinder inside the fire will never quench. It will still keep on burning. So remember the word pass, P-A-S-S. P-A-S-S, when you have extinguisher at home, or maybe you have it in your car. The first thing you have to do, this is a seal. Seal here indicates that the extinguisher has not been used. So you turn it like this, the seal will break, Then the pass, it means you pull the pin. There's a safety pin. When the pin is inside, you press it, it won't go. So you turn this, you pull the pin. Before you pull the pin, you aim the nozzle. This is a discharge. When you operate the extinguisher, when you operate it, the content will pass through this tube. So we call this a discharge nozzle. So you pull the pin, that is the P, you aim the nozzle at the base of the fire. It's not on top of the frame, but at the base of the fire. Then you squeeze. You squeeze. So as soon as you squeeze, the chemical content will pass through this one. Then it will come at the base of the fire. Then the fire will automatically go off. You don't stop the squeezing until the fire is automatically off before you remove your hands. So this is how to operate fire extinguisher. Always remember the word pass. P-A-S-S. P-A-S-S, pass. You pull the pin, you aim, then you squeeze, then you sweep side by side. That is how to operate fire extinguisher. And we also advise our viewers and our listeners that, especially in our children's bedrooms, we should keep towels almost at every bedroom. When there is fire, what they have to do is to cover their nose or their mouth before they get out, so that they don't inhale the smoke. You know, the smoke are very toxic. So let's put towels in every rooms of our children. It will be best way for them. Then there is research says that smoke rises, smoke go up. So whenever there is a fire in a room or wherever you may find yourself, please don't walk upright. Don't walk upright. You need to go down. You go down on your knees.
So you should crawl, something like
you're
crawling.
Very good. You go down on your knees and you crawl. When you go down, you get oxygen to breathe. But when you stand, you inhale in the smoke, which is very toxic, and you will die. Please, you will die. A lot of people are dying. Not every fire outbreak that comes out is recorded by Ghana Fire Service. There's a lot that they can't record it, or they don't even call them at the scene. So please, let us do our best to protect ourselves. Our own safety is at our own hands. God has given us wisdom to think so that He can rest, as I've been telling you all the time. So please, let us be safety conscious. It will help us.
Okay, so you were saying that we should direct the nozzle to the base. Why the base?
That is where the fire is coming from. Okay. So you need to fight the fire from the base.
Okay.
Yes. You need to tackle the fire from the base. Okay. Because if we're able to fight it from the base, you quench it very fast. Okay,
so at what point would I get to know that, hey, this fire is beyond me or above me, I should seek for help? Very good.
When fire starts, we have stages. It starts from invisible smoke, especially when when it is electrical fire. The sparkle starts. That is from invisible smoke. You won't see any smoke. You will see the sparks coming from the electric or whatever. When you have the extinguisher, you fight it. Mm. If you leave it from the initial stage, that is invisible stage, then it's move on to visible smoke, whereby you see the smoke coming out. Then from the smoke, it's go on to flame stage. Then from the flame stage, it produces heat. So as often or as more as it generates more heat, then the fire keep on burning. Okay. Yes, before you realize the whole place is engulfed by fire. So when you have the extinguisher at earlier stage, then you leave it. But when you are fighting a fire, beside all your effort and the fire keep on growing, please leave it and run away. Run for your life. Run for your life. Run for your life. Don't say you have fire extinguisher. And these are machines, and sometimes it can fail. Yes, so when your extinguisher failed, you are not a service provider. Don't try to see why the extinguisher is not coming. Please leave it and call for discovery. Shout for help. That is whereby you can shout fire, fire, fire for people to come to your aid.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Now, let's put the fire and let's look at other safety issues at home. What are some of the safety incidents you've been recording, you've been using, just not on fire issues?
Not on fire issues. There are a lot, especially as I said earlier, why can somebody fail from his own house and get fracture or maybe dislocation? Proper housekeeping. So we need to be very careful. Housekeeping, I think, is the key for home safety. Housekeeping, how to maintain the home is very, very important. So please, if it is fire, housekeeping, any accident within home is housekeeping. You know, we need to put things accordingly. For instance, me, if any time that I visit the kitchen, my wife will sack me away. Kwabena, don't come here, because if I pick something from the table, I will not put it at the same place. Maybe I will put it at a different place. What we are advising here is that we should put things according, or we should arrange things accordingly. That will help us to eliminate most of this home hazard. It will help all of us.
Yeah, you were telling me of a story of the LPG with the lady and all that. You wanted to share that?
Oh yes, a friend of mine some years back got burned. I think she got burned about 60 to 70%. And what happened was that I think during the cooking, she saw smoke or fire coming from the cylinder, and she decided to bring the cylinder out from the kitchen because she was renting. Along the line, the cylinder exploded, and she didn't see anything before she realized she was at Korle Bu Plastic and Surgery. So LPG is very dangerous. We will advise that from time to time, we need to check the cord, that is the cable connected from the cylinder to the stove or from the oven.
You mean the hose?
The hose.
The rubber hose.
The rubber hose that is connected from the cylinder, from the regulator to the oven. From time to time, at least twice in the quarter is good. Do soapy water, then rub it on the nose, the hose like this. After using the soapy water on the hose, open the valve. Don't apply matches or whatever. If you open the valve, the gas will pass through the hose. And if there is any leakage, you will see bubble coming out of it, which means the cable or the hose is not good. You need to change the hose. So we should do that. This one, you don't need any expert to come home and charge you and do this. You can do it yourself. Just soapy water. You can use Omo or whatever. Like soapy, when you are going to wash, then you rub it on the hose.
No, you mean the hose connected from the cylinder to the cooker, not the fire extinguisher.
Oh, not the fire extinguisher.
Yes.
I'm just using this one as an example because the hose is like this one. So I'm not talking about extinguisher hose. I'm talking about we are talking about the LPG gas. So it's the hose that is connected the cylinder to the oven. That is what I'm talking about.
Okay. So how often do they have expiry dates on them?
Yes. Everything on this set has an expiring date. Even we, the human beings, have an expiring date. So at least I will not encourage or advise anybody to buy these old cylinders because we don't know how long it has been on the market. We don't know. And I think most cylinders will go for 12, 15 years. At least we need to dispose them. I'm not well particular about that one, but the old cylinders in the market is not advisable, or the home use one, because we don't know the number of years that has been in abroad before bringing them to Ghana here. And you know, Ghana here, we don't do hydraulic testing and see if the cylinder can withstand the pressure. Yes, so we just see the cylinder, then we buy them. It's not advisable. I think you can buy the new one. And what people also does is when they see the cylinder is rusting, then they do respraying. It's not advisable. As soon as you see the cylinder is rising, it means there's something wrong with the cylinder.
It means that the density has reduced.
Definitely.
And so gradually it may not be able to contain the pressure of the gas.
So we need to discard them, then get new one.
Okay.
Yes, it's
now,
very good.
There is this interesting thing going on. You see people having a 14 kg cylinder, then they'll take you to the filling area, then they'll say, "Mama, Shanema, boss, Shanema, mama, what is so dangerous about that?"
You know, for instance, this extinguisher is 6 kilograms, but the cylinder is not full to the brim. There's a space on it. So it's not advisable to for those who filled our cylinder. That's if I fill it full, this is the charge, and if you fill it, this is the charge. It's not that. Always there has to be a space so that air can sit on top of it. So it's not advisable to fill the cylinder to the brim. It's not advisable. So if you go to the filling station to fill your gas cylinder and they tell you the full is this, the full is, please buy what you can buy. Don't fill them to the maximum.
Because the gas will eventually expand.
Expand.
And it needs space to expand. If it doesn't, it will explode.
I don't know who has ever, maybe our callers will share their view with us. Anyone who has seen explosion of gas before. It's very dangerous. Very dangerous. And let me chip in this one. We don't need to use, how do you call it, mobile phones in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. It's also not advisable. Okay. But you see, if you will be cooking, if you will be peeling, how do you call it, cassava at the same time, the phone will be on the shoulder and you'll be talking at the same time in the kitchen. Please, you are putting your life in danger.
Or it's not advisable.
And doing video calls at the same time. Please be very careful. Be very careful. And some people used to give testimony in the churches that I thank God. I thank God. I was cooking. I put my soup on top of the fire. Then I left it knowing that I have. I slept. Then before I wake up, then a whole lot of things. Please, it didn't go to the flashing point. So be very careful. Be very careful. When you are cooking, we should attend to the cooking before or after we put off the cylinder. We should be very particular about it. There are some testimonies we don't even need to give it. Fortunately, next time you won't get it that way. So let us be very careful. Because I always tell people that God has given us wisdom to think so that He can rest. Not everything is prayer, not everything is testimony. You were fortunate that time. Be very careful.
I have an example that I saw, and it happened to one of my colleagues so many years ago. He was a newly married family, and then the lady got up in the morning to go and cook something for the family. Apparently, the whole kitchen was engulfed with LPG. He couldn't perceive the smell. So immediately he puts on the lights. Then boom.
Explosion.
That my friend died.
Serious, very sad.
So for me, I have a practice at home. Before I match or I put on the match, I open my windows to make sure that any gas or anything has escaped. Perceive if there is no smell, then I'll be able to light up. Maybe we can also do the same in our homes.
That is good practice. But I want you to throw more light on that. That is good practice, yes. So I think we said it earlier on. So when you get home and you smell the gas or whatever, the leakage, don't put on light, don't put on fan. What you need to do at first is to open the windows and doors for some time for air to pass through before you can attend to your cylinder and check. So it's not advisable. It's not advisable at all. It's a very unfortunate incident, and it happens. Some years back, we experienced the same thing within Alaji Chantan, within our district. A family of 4, they all died out of that. And what happened? It was the midnight. And, actually, I didn't know what happened. But according to the story, the woman was nursing a baby. So in the midnight, he sensed a smoke in the room. I think it's this single room, self-contained. They have the cylinder in the kitchen. Everything is within the kitchen. So he decided to come out and throw the nursing boy outside and get in, wake up the husband. Unfortunately, they couldn't return. So the husband and the 2 children, including the mother, they all got burnt.
Leaving the baby.
Leaving the baby. So the baby was only surviving child. So it's very serious to keeping these cylinders. They are very dangerous, but we don't see. Where we have it is where it's very dangerous. We should be very careful.
Now, let's look at the distance. Where should the LPG gas be as against where the stove should be? Approximately.
The best advisable is to keep it outside the kitchen. Okay. They shouldn't be within the kitchen.
Now, looking at our setting, we may not have that condition perfectly done. at what radius or distance should that be?
For the radius, I can't say. It depends on the size of your kitchen. If this single room self-contained, whereby the kitchen is very small, the stove is here, the cylinder is here, I cannot give the radius. Okay. It depends on the setup. Okay. But the best way is to keep those cylinders outside the kitchen. Okay. That is the best option.
Okay. Well, my time is up, and it's been a very interesting discussion. But you said you have a book on safety.
Yes.
Would you want to share that with us?
Please have a look at it.
Okay. So fire and life security,
life safety
guidelines.
Yes.
For children, a handbook for teachers and parents, written by Emmanuel Ebo Budu Mensah. Yes. So what is the book about? Please share some few lights on us with us.
The book is about fire and safety. The things that we've discussed here, there's a lot. Most of them is in the book, and especially for the children, the school environment, the condition that the school setup need to put in place, safety measures in the school. There's a lot, and it also talk about treatment of burns. It talk about how to give CPR and when to give CPR. CPR is a cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Yes, it has a lot of information, and I hope if everyone get a copy at home, it will help the whole family.
So yes. Where can we get a copy?
This book is available at ICTV. ICTV is located at Odoko. Then our location is at McCarthy Hill Traffic Light, Perfect Care Institute of Fire and Safety Engineering. Then you can get a copy from all of the EPP bookshop in Ghana.
Okay, so
we have a copy.
Can you put across your number in case somebody wants to reach you on this book?
Okay, my number is 0244 298 244. 0244 298 244. In case anybody wants a copy of the book or he needs any consultancy in fire protection services, we are available to assist the person.
Okay, so as we wrap up, what is your final word to our teaming viewers across the globe, especially to Ghanaian families?
For our viewers, life is very precious. Life is very precious, and we should do our best to protect our own life, because God has given us wisdom to think. Things that we know we are not doing it well. From now on, please let us do proper things, especially in our home setup. And I strongly believe it will go a long way to help us. Especially, as I said from the beginning, when building or when putting up structures, seek expert advice on type of windows that you need, an escape windows or escape routes. So please let us do our best to contact an expert who can advise us and see things that we may need within our building. It's very, very important.
Okay, thank you very much. All too soon, our time is up, and I've enjoyed the discussion, and I'm sure you've taken some notes that will help you to rearrange. I am glad he mentioned homekeeping. Housekeeping, thank you. Housekeeping, the way we keep our things at home, the way we arrange things, that we should not leave things on the walkway, because sometimes people fall, then it becomes another problem. In the bathroom, the type of towels we should use, where we should keep our cylinders as against our stove, our lighting and everything. I think we've learned a lot. Why don't you put them into use? They will help you. Keep on as you discuss this in your homes to enable us be safe and live well, so that what God has asked us to do, you'll be able to do that in Jesus' name. Thank you so much for staying tuned. Same time next week, we come into your homes again. Good night. Bye-bye.